Okay, and now this is not just for the mangroves itself. This is for these units that we were talking about earlier, correct?
Yeah, well, it's we have people also filming the back edge, so that's that mangrove salt marsh interface, and also the terrestrial edge as well, like looking at where salt marsh or mangroves, if there's no salt marsh, usually salt marsh into mangrove areas, mangrove into salt marsh into terrestrial areas. So that's, as sea level rises, you're going to see those areas move up and the terrestrial edge die. So we've got people monitoring all the different edges. It's just the easiest one for most people to do, and the way they start off is from the shore edge from a boat.
Right.
And once people get into it, they're just out there filming everything. And also setting up the photo monitoring points and taking regular photos of the same place along an edge over time as well. Okay. And we also link in with, from our perspective, we have a bigger coastal monitoring program scheme, which is linked into helicopter surveys and satellite assessment as well. So really what the community does there at the coalface, doing that basic information collection, and we enhance that with other surveys which are done by us, which is sort of broad-scale coastal surveys by helicopter and then satellite assessment, GIS assessment as well. So then you can start to get a whole picture of the whole system.
So this is just one aspect of a larger monitoring process along like entire coasts.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we hope to we'll be soon expanding this out in the Torres Strait as a full program.
Right.
Done this in Vietnam as well, where we've filmed, had plots, done filming, aerial survey and satellite survey into one big study, I guess. Right. Then you can see how each of those little places where there's one mangrove watcher looking at their creek and see how that fits into the whole coastline, really. And that's what we plan to do.
Right, yeah. Now, say if I want to start a mangrove, like, I'm over in Canada, you're in Australia. If I want to start a mangrove program in North America, what would I need? To start off, what would be the basic essentials that I would need?
Well, basically, you need a kit, which is just a video camera, a GPS, and a still camera. Okay. Possibly you need access to a boat, but actually, I'll just start off the step before that. You just need a still camera and a GPS, really.
Right.
Go and take a photo of an area that either you think is beautiful, or that there's something going on there, or you may be interested in looking at fruiting and flowering times. That's the simplest form, is just to take a photo, and then you can send that photo in to us.
Right.
Then the next level up is to do a filming assessment. Mm-hmm. So you've got your video camera, your GPS, and your still camera, and you go out and you do it on a boat or by walking. People have even suggested doing it by a car along a road edge, if there's a road at the back of the mangroves.
Right.
And then, so that's the next step. But once we get into that step, we sort of need a bit of funding to support that, to get the camera and that kind of thing. So we help people get funding and start a program up. And if there's support from the community, generally there's support from funding agencies to help them out. But really it's a community-driven thing. So we don't go anywhere and say, hey, you should do Mangrove Watch. We'd prefer for people to come to us and say, we want to start a Mangrove Watch program here. And then we'll say, well, here's how you can do it. Here's some potential funders that in your area.
Right.
And we've got some pro formas and things that we can send out to people.
Yeah. Now, have you ever had requests from different parts of the world of how to start a Mangrove Watch program?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's why we're going to Thailand in August to have a workshop there to get Mangrove Watch kicked off in Thailand with the Mangrove Action Project, which is a Northern American NGO. Okay. They said, hey, we want to get involved in Mangrove Watch. And we said, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
So it's really limitless to, if there's mangroves, we can watch them. That's pretty much what we say.
Right, absolutely. So the design, I guess, the way you guys are going to design it is, say you're going to Thailand, you're gonna work with communities to train them on how to actually take the photos and the videos and everything like that, how to get access and everything. And then what they're going to do is they're going to send it to your offices or your labs, and then
Well,
you're going to have your own.
In Thailand, we'd actually hope to train Thai mangrove researchers at local institutions to set up a local mangrove hub there, because it's obviously better for local scientists to be linked with the communities there.
Right.
And so, yeah, in that way you've got direct link. It will still be there as a guiding
Absolutely,
hub.
Yeah.
But it's better to come from the local area, I think. So
Yeah.
that's our goal in going to Thailand. We're going to meet with a bunch of researchers as well as the communities and a bunch of NGOs there, IUCN, Wetlands International, all those guys that are working on mangroves in that area. Get them all into the one room and say, hey, let's have a broad-scale mangrove monitoring program for Thailand. Here's how we can do it.
That's fantastic. I mean, think about it. I mean, from how many, when you started your PhD, you were going around and you were trying to get access to all this data, and you were one person. And now, you know, you've got Australia, most of Australia, you've got Vietnam, and now you're going to get Thailand. You know, I mean, that's just, and you're getting other people to do it with you. And you know, so you've multiplied it, you know, tenfold even, you know, just to probably more, and it's just going to catch on from there.
Yeah, I think the only limitation is really funding. I mean, that's the same with any group, right? That just needs to, as long as we've got financial backing, we can do it. We can Mangrove Watch the world, really.
Right. now, how much, you know, how much is required for, say, for a you know, one sort of area? How much is it money to pay the scientists, you know, for the time that they do, or do the communities get some of that money as well for the researching that they're doing?
Well, what we try to do is make sure that all costs incurred by the community are covered, whether that be boats or fuel and their time. But people generally do it on a volunteer basis,
right? And
cover our costs here. Obviously, we've got costs in flying to workshops and doing things like that. We need to cover those costs. Unfortunately, universities aren't like they used to be, where they just give you a blank check. You've got every bit of money is counted.
Yeah. Yeah.
We cover our costs there. We also run a website, so there's some funding required for that to put all the report cards and information up there.
Right.
And there is some money that goes towards us for our time and help fund the volunteers and
of course,
that kind of thing, pizza nights, that kind of stuff.
Right. Oh yeah, no, for sure. So now, like, if somebody wanted to start it, say, over in North America and run their own shop, you know, with the, you know, initial help from you guys, how much funding would be required, do you think? Like, well, just on average, like a ballpark figure, what are we looking at?
For one area, I mean, because we'd have to travel over there, I think you'd be looking at $20,000. Would be a startup fee, and then it obviously would be less in ongoing years, because it's the initial startup with training workshops and things like that that would have to be running. But with that, I mean, you don't just want one river. You sort of, once one person gets going, and it starts a momentum for the whole area to get going. You can cover a lot of ground then. So $20,000 would cover about 100 kilometers of mangroves.
Okay, which isn't, if you think about it, it's not that bad. I mean, you look at some of the major projects that are happening around the world with all the technology that's involved and all the people. I mean, a lot of times the startup cost is you know, $500,000 to $1 million. I mean, now you're talking about $20,000. It really isn't. I mean, it sounds like a lot, you know, but if you look at it in a scientific, you know, study, it's really not that much, right?
Well, considering what some of the oil companies are willing to spend on simple surveys and things like that, well, it's just a drop in the ocean, really, in terms of that. But it's and for what people get out of it, particularly, like, our goal is to link this in directly with managers, so it's a useful product for managers to use to manage their coastal resource. Having a baseline of condition that you can then compare in the future is gold for any manager. I mean, even for us here in Australia, because mangroves are protected, we've got the boating and fisheries patrol goes around and slaps people on the wrist when they cut down a mangrove.
Right.
So we can tell people, hey, well, there were mangroves there yesterday and they're not there today.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So it's actually a tool that's useful for enforcement of regulation and management of the resource.